Janice, are you there?
At your service, sir.
Give me some of that dating foolishness.
Will do, sir.
Fierce, sassy, va-va-voom, finger-snapping, neck-winding, bootylicious realness, jam-packed with attitude, strong, independent black woman. That's me, right? Am I doing it right?
Strong and independent black women depressed for being strong and independent. Coping mechanism. Welcome to Manager Highlights Daily. This video comes from the BBC Ideas channel. Interesting video about the strong and independent black woman stereotype and how it's affecting black women in a negative way. There are a few things I want to address that these women have done to themselves and why you don't have to feel sorry for them when they are crying in the car. And to take it a step further, you don't have to be a cleanup guy. Let's talk about it. Now it's time for us to get into this and do what we gotta do. Because we meaning, we meaning, we.
Finger-snapping, neck-winding, bootylicious realness, jam-packed with attitude, strong, independent black woman. That's me, right? Am I doing it right? I'm asking because I often feel like I must be doing it wrong. I must be. Because it seems so easy for those stoical, wisecracking black women I see on the TV screen. This is what's expected of me. What happens if you don't fit the mold? What happens if you're made to feel that by just being yourself, you're doing it wrong? What effect can this have on your mental well-being? Depression was something that happened to other people, not me. Ain't nobody got time for that. Too busy being strong and independent, working twice as hard as everyone else, and trying to make good use of the opportunities that now presented themselves to me because of the grit and determination of the strong black women who had paved the way before me. So I was shocked when depression came for me in 2008. What was most shocking was the realization that it had been there for a very long time, waiting in the shadows. I felt like I'd failed, until I did some research and discovered that this is more common than I've been led to believe.
Before we continue, it's not the brothers, it's not men that are telling these sisters to keep up this bad attitude that we broke down in our 40-minute video called Black Women's Bad Attitude Explained. The brothers have been telling these sisters about their attitude for decades, and the sisters made it very clear that they are not gonna listen.
How are you going to reprogram men so that they don't let us take over what's supposed to be their responsibility? And men that I have had dealings with, they are perfectly willing to sit back and let us do anything we want to.
I don't think that you have to reprogram men. I think you have to reprogram women.
No, you have to reprogram the man so that he will forcefully take what belongs to him, because you know women, as long as we can get, we're gonna get, and it's part of our being. We're going to do anything to you that you let us, whether we want to or not.
This is pure gold. Shout out to the master teacher BGS Ibmore for sharing this clip because it's pure gold. Most of us were not even born yet, and this shit was already happening. You have to see it to believe it. Black men from the diaspora were never in charge of their women. It's the sisterhood that created, embraced, and perpetuated this strong and independent foolishness. There was a subscriber asking us to do a long video about the sisterhood. That's not a bad idea because the results are in. The damage has been done and has been self-inflicted by these women. Stop pointing the finger at us men.
Stats from gov.uk show that 4 times as many black people were sectioned under the Mental Health Act in 2017 to 18 than white people. 4 times as many. According to the NHS, black British women are more prone than white women to experience common mental disorders such as anxiety, depression, panic, and obsessive-compulsive disorders. And a recent University of Cambridge study revealed that black women aged between 16 and 34 are more prone to self-harm than white women. Something isn't adding up here. The data's saying one thing, but social media, memes, and the entertainment industry in general are still pushing the strong, independent stereotype.
Because you love it. Like I said earlier, they embraced it because it makes them feel good. It's a coping mechanism. All of these likes and attention on social media are like drugs. It can provide temporary pleasure and relief from physical or emotional pain. But they also have harmful and long-lasting effects on the body and mind. I remember having this hot girlfriend and we used to... It was really intense, but was not sustainable because it came from a place of chaos, turmoil, and unrest. Peace made her uncomfortable. She was always looking for fights, always looking to argue, a combative woman, and it would turn her on when I would argue back and we would explode and very intense booty tap dancing sessions that would get me high for a moment just to come back down to a relationship that was not fulfilling, exhausting, annoying, and certainly not sustainable. And that's where depression comes in, because coping mechanisms like sex, drugs, and alcohol do not address the underlying issues that are causing the negative emotions or stress.
After I was diagnosed with depression, I suddenly became aware that I didn't see the world in the same way that everyone else did. That the way that I constantly criticized myself, pushed myself to excel, and was cautious about celebrating achievements wasn't the norm. Actually, that's not quite right. It wasn't the norm for my white friends, but it was normal for the women in my family. They struggled to be what was expected of them. But instead of rejecting the stereotype, they perpetuated it. A survival mechanism which allowed them to integrate and build communities in a hostile and unwelcoming environment. But at what cost?
This is exactly what I'm talking about. We're not gonna dispute the societal effects on the behavior of the sisters, but they did not reject the stereotype, and sisters rejected many things before. So they made the choice, just like they made the choice to join the feminist movement. They were not forced to join, and black women had no business embracing the feminist movement in the first place. However, black women are women first. They wanted what the white women had, what the white women wanted, and expected their own men to provide this for them. And because most of them couldn't do it, they looked down upon these men and started talking exactly like this woman in this clip.
Belongs to him, because you know women, as long as we can get, we gonna get, and it's part of our being. We're going to do anything to you that you let us, whether we want to or not.
They talk like this because what are you gonna do? Huh? What are you gonna do? That's why it's not a survival mechanism. It's a coping mechanism. This is how the sisters spin the story, because they had no interest in building a community with the brothers. They always wanted to be independent and do whatever the F they wanted. That's why they keep doing what they're doing. The reason why they become depressed is a matter of pride and shame.
But at what cost? I would see glimpses of their pain and anger in private, but they would quickly hide it away. From an early age, I was taught that you should never let anyone see your pain, because they would use it against you. There was a sense that life was a battle. To win, you had to work twice as hard as everyone else for half as much reward, and keep smiling and laughing, but not too much. If you were too happy, then someone would take it away from you. That's a lot, right?
First off, I want to say she looks so much more attractive when she smiles. The brothers are not complaining about ugly women. Well, some of them are. Brothers are complaining about modern women's attitude, black women's attitude in particular. And her saying that she is not supposed to smile is part of that attitude. That's why this is a coping mechanism, because sisters are insecure as F and they are afraid to get hurt. And that's why they try to intimidate men, because they are intimidated themselves. Women cannot force men to be attracted to them. Women cannot force men to be in a relationship with them. That choice belongs to us. And because you can't be the woman that we want you to be, you pull that strong and independent woman out of your bag and claim that men are intimidated by you. The foolishness, coping mechanism activated. Women are allowed to cry and ask for help, but they often feel pressure to maintain a strong and independent persona to avoid negative emotions such as feelings of failure, guilt, and embarrassment. And it's the sisterhood that's putting this pressure on them. That's why this clip is pure gold.
And men that I have had dealings with, they are perfectly willing to sit back and let us do anything we want to.
Women all over the world love black men because brothers are the most agreeable men out there. That's why I always say a good man can make a woman feel bad because she's not a good woman. A bad boy make her feel better about herself because he takes away the pressure of being a good woman. Coping mechanism activated.
Where does that mindset come from? And how does a black woman navigate her way through it all? Luckily, there are mental health organisations out there that are specifically designed to support the Black British community. I spoke to Jackie Dyer and Natalie Creary from Black Thrive to discuss their work. So where do you think the stereotype of the strong, independent black woman comes from?
I think it comes all the way back from slavery, to be quite frank. These are some of the stories that went round in order to help to enslave our black population.
The black woman is expected to carry the weight of the world on their shoulder and to provide the support and the care for others, when actually black women also need to be cared for, they need to be nurtured.
Slavery definitely played a role. But if she says in the year 2023 that the black woman is expected to carry the weight of the world on their shoulders, who has this expectation? You tell me in the comment section, because last time I checked, women said they don't need a man. Last time I checked, sisters are free to do whatever the F they want without being held accountable. In our Black Women's Attitude video, we highlight all the daddy government assistance these women are getting. What the hell are you talking about?
Where else can black British women receive help and support?
Take some steps and communicate what is going on inside you that you actually don't need to be bearing on your own.
To be a strong black woman is also to be a vulnerable black woman.
I'd say find somebody who you can trust, who you can talk with.
It's going to see your GP, reaching out to your social networks. You need to kind of be able to let our guard down and to say, actually, I'm feeling vulnerable and, I need help.
Yes, therapy. And not therapy from an feminist therapist. Depression is hitting all women in modern society because they drink that feminist feel-good Kool-Aid, thinking they can have it all. And sleeping around is empowering. Women graduate more than men, yet most of these women will never work their dream job. Depressing, isn't it? Most of these career women will never marry a 6'2" man who earns 6 figures. Depressing, isn't it? Feminism doesn't teach these women that the wall is undefeated. For the women that hit the wall, depressing, isn't it? Therapy is a good one.
The strong, independent black woman trope was a much needed survival mechanism. But for second and third generation black women, it's a mechanism that has served its purpose and has the potential to become a self-destructive identity that can actually do more harm than good. I'm so grateful for the sacrifices made by my elders and the hardships they had to endure. Their strength will always lie within me, which means I can allow myself to be more than just strong. Out of respect for them, I'm learning to show the sides of myself that they had to keep hidden away. It's okay not to be okay. It takes courage to speak honestly about how you're feeling. I can be strong and accept my weaknesses, independent and vulnerable, move away from the stereotype and embrace my true self.
What about interdependence? What about femininity? What about dropping those unrealistic expectations? Brothers, brace yourselves because we live in some interesting times. Depression epidemic, loneliness epidemic. AI is going to take over a lot of these office jobs and at least have an impact that will encourage change. Be careful of chameleons coming out of the woodwork. You don't have to be a cleanup man for these women. Fellas, raise your standards. And as always, protect yourself at all times. Manosphere, we working. This video has officially been highlighted.